Well, that was certainly a round.
That was a round of the year.
Yes, it was one of the rounds of all time.
Kicked off on one of the best games of the year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Penrith Bulldogs was the best game of the year.
I would like to be this good.
It was so good.
It was such a good game of football. It was basically Penrith versus Penrith Live.
They're not that bad.
Kick out Burton.
But yes, game of the season. But it was mostly because the defense in this game was exemplary.
Phenomenal, right? I mean, there was one try scored by good ball play and one by a lucky charge down, and that's it.
Well, that was so wrong.
It's
Still a lucky charge down.
still skill.
It's skill that the ball bounces up nicely for you. That's luck when that happens.
Well, that's the same for literally every grubber kick of all time. Then everything is luck.
Absolutely, there's luck involved.
Take that logic. You take every reason to take away credit from Penrith for this.
Absolutely, because the Dogs are a better football side.
Evidently, not.
They scored the same number of tries. One was from skill, one was from luck. There you go.
Well, they should have scored another one.
Penrith didn't score another one.
They didn't need to. They won.
Well, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have been happy with one try off one charge down, and that's it.
Do you see what I have to deal with?
I mean, you haven't participated because you don't actually watch the games. You're just here for the ride. But yes, Penrith Bulldogs. Yes, great game. Great game. I told you guys to write off Penrith at your own peril. They're back. I am confident in saying they are.
Two good games.
I still don't. Look, if they continue on their merry way through the origin area, then yes. But
They'll have to deal with one more game.
I know. Who are they playing?
Brisbane. No, that's the Bulldogs. Actually, don't know who Penrith. Penrith's on the bye this week.
They're lucky then. They
Are
get
they?
it at the,
Pretty sure
they get it at the right.
They
They
are.
get it at the right time for them, which is cool.
Yeah, they're on the bye
Okay.
this week.
So the win was like a 4-point win. So
Exactly. It's good for them.
very helpful for them, that's for sure.
But yeah, it was just great from Penrith, and especially I think from the man who you consider lucky for the sake of this week, Nathan Cleary. He was great.
Look, he's a good player. I'm not saying that, but there was a bit of luck involved with him being able to charge down a kick, and it bounced perfectly up into his breadbasket for him to be able to score.
Didn't he really just dived on it anyway? Most kicks.
Yeah, but he might have been caught at that point and not scored straight away. So,
Hold on, if he's
but if it's before the line and he dives on it, I don't know whether he'd do that. But
why would he do that?
it might take us.
It's like he doesn't play football.
Could have taken a sideward bounce or anything, you know.
Sure.
He didn't.
And that's fair, but the play to get there at all is in itself.
I mean, look, Burton should have seen him coming and changed his kick.
Yep.
Like grubbed it along the ground or something, and at least then they wouldn't have been getting scored on at that point. And we know that their defence was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting kicked by a ball that's been booted by Matt Burton would hurt.
At that time, he's probably not feeling anything.
No, I think he was probably fine. Yeah, I thought Cleary was great in this game. The rest of the Origin contingent I thought were good. Yo was great. I thought Dylan Edwards had one of his better games of this year so far. Brian Toto was great.
Well, we're expecting that from Toto, don't we? I mean, 200 metres and all this.
Exactly. But I don't think that should take away from how good of a game it is. It's commonplace.
Well, it showed. That being said, it showed that the Bulldogs' defence was second to none.
Oh yeah, it was just as good.
Yeah.
I'd say this game, both teams deserve to win this one.
Yeah. It would have been good if it had been a draw, right? But Penrith got themselves up.
Getting two draws in the same.
That would be funny. But yeah, and then that's just the way it goes. Look, the Bulldogs will bounce back. They're not gone from this.
Not even a little bit. Their defense was still great. Yeah. They were just compounded by the fact that Penrith's defense was the best it has looked the entire season.
That's fair.
I love how that theoretically, if they got a draw, they would have got one win from 2 games.
This is true.
So fun.
How good from that. But yes, it's just the big thing for Penrith was the effort, because that's been missing for quite a bit of this season, I think. And now the effort is there. Blaise Talangi is developing into a really good foil for Nathan Cleary. The forward pack and their signings are actually starting to pan out now. It's all happening at the right time for this team. And that's scary. So I guess we will see I feel confident they can keep it going. Whether they will, it's 2025. Who the hell knows?
The rugby league gods.
But yeah, I know. This win makes me really, really optimistic for Penrith's long-term chances now.
We don't
Well,
want
that's-
that though.
We just got to remember that there was had to be a reshuffle in the Bulldogs lineup. They lost a player fairly early on in the game. Saluka Fafita.
Oh yeah, in the forward pack.
Yeah.
They
So that changes things around a little bit.
changes things a little bit, but I don't think it changes that much because
Somebody else had to play longer.
and it was Harry Hayes that took the extra minutes, which they don't lose anything in my
No,
opinion.
and that's fine. But once again, we know that they can throw out things a little bit from their plans that they would have had during the week.
But
And
that's the thing is that Saluka Fafita ordinarily only plays 20-ish minutes a week anyway, so it probably would have been about the stint that Hayes would have got anyway. I think who would the other bench players be? I actually don't remember who would have picked up the extra minutes. Maybe Kikiao was supposed to go off at the end and didn't because of the thing. That's the only thing I can think of because it seemed fairly routine for them, especially because Saluka Fafita has a history of being out pretty early in games for the Bulldogs, so they're used to it now. But you're absolutely right. Losing a player mid-game definitely can mess with your rotations, and we'll see that in a later game this round.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, you do.
Stephen Crichton was very quiet in this game.
It's still a big game because it's Stephen Crichton.
Yeah.
all that much, especially if he was marked up against Casey McClellan. I thought he'd be in for
I think they double teamed him a little bit, which is probably what they have to do.
Right?
Yeah. They probably double teamed him with the number 11 or whatever from their team. Maybe.
Garner did play a few minutes this game.
So, but that's what I think it was. I don't think McLean by himself owns.
He's not Stephen Crichton's father yet.
No, not particularly even close to doing that.
Yeah, that's outside that. For the Bulldogs, I brought up Harry Hayes. I thought Toby Sexton was really good in this game. He continues to just add zeros to whichever team decides to sign him next. They're picking up a really good one there.
Colin Tracy was excellent.
he was making possession.
He saved 2 tries,
It's such a good game.
and he just didn't seem to have any respect for his own body when he was doing it.
Throwing himself around.
He's fast, he's good.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We know Connor Tracy has these games in him.
Yeah.
That's the kind of player he
He's
is.
a good player when he's on, that's for sure.
He was great.
Yeah.
I do think for the Bulldogs, the minor premiership aspirations are looking a little shaky now.
Yeah, look, Canberra would have to be the favourite at this point.
I think you'd have to, right? They're
Yeah.
2 games up.
They still have 2 eyes up there. So
Exactly.
where Bulldogs don't have anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Look, they're a top 4 team. They're a great team. They'll
they'll be there in September, no problem. Yeah.
still,
In fact, they could get a week off.
Oh, no, very easily.
Yeah.
I find it hard to find a universe where they don't have a chance for a week off this season.
They're their top 4.
Yeah, this was just a good game. There were so many standout performances for mine from
Both sides, and that's why, like we said at the start, best game of the year so far.
Easy.
And that's just, you always think of best games, points scored, no. Sometimes the best games are defensive masterclass.
Exactly.
And
I think this comes a lot from people's propensity to not necessarily watch games, but just like look at the box score and the stats at the end and think, oh, well, this game was crap because there were no points and the attack was terrible. No. Watch the game. They were asking plenty of questions.
both sides, yeah.
Great attacking football.
It took a lot of, like the try that the Bulldogs actually scored was a lot of ball movement, and it was
It was a gorgeous try. It was
Yeah.
really, really good.
And no, Penrith just didn't really have an answer to that one, but they had answers for everything else.
They
The rest of the game.
they forced an error out of the goals, which is
What Penrith, that's their brand of football.
No, look, great game. Penrith, look, they're playing better. Obviously, from the start of the year, where they were playing like bastards for the whole, for 5 or 6 weeks, they're playing a lot better. Are they back? I guess that'll be seen in the next few weeks to see how they go. But they're obviously playing better.
I'm not writing them off.
Oh, you don't write Penrith off now, but if they don't finish in the top 4, it's going to be hard for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody has ever won outside the
They're
top
still,
4.
they're still, I think, 3 games outside the top right now, so they do have quite a bit of ground to make up. It's a matter of which they can do it.
Outside the top 4.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting in 7th.
And really, at the moment, there's only one team that's in there that I can definitively see dropping out of the top 4, which we will get to later on. But from the best game of the year to, in my opinion, was the worst game of the year.
This
I want my 2 hours back.
was terrible.
This was the worst. It's the worst because this was the inverse of the game before because halftime it was 6-0, but it wasn't because the defense was good. It's because both teams were so inept with the ball.
Yeah.
And then the second half was just a blowout to Manly. So it was everything that can go wrong in rugby league did go wrong in this game.
Yeah, the Eagles won.
It was
Yes, everybody hates the Seagulls,
Yeah. But
the Tigers were worse.
Manly won, the Tigers lost, so I guess we kind of have to.
Fans are okay, we just hate you.
This serves me right for believing in the Tigers.
I tipped the Tigers because
I
I thought they were going okay.
You
But
guys
once-
have to tip it.
Once Luai was ruled out,
It did get a lot harder.
yeah, that stuff.
I agree.
I think if he'd been there, it was a closer game.
Yeah, I feel like having a halves combo of Appy and Latu Finu, and then halfway through the second half having swapped to Adam Dewey and Latu Finu is the recipe for this.
It didn't help this.
Kelly Hart is insane.
He's done a bit, I think,
2 times.
last year. He's been halfback there before, but
Halfback.
I think they've really, really missed Jareen Buller in this game. Because I like Heath Mason. I think he's a strong player. He's solid, but they needed Buller's flash out there.
They didn't really have any.
Have any in this
They
game.
tried hard for the first half, I guess, and then the second half, I guess they were tired.
I think they really had a bit. Yeah. I think losing Appy because that takes out person.
And a good defender as well.
Exactly. So that was. I think it was bound to happen as soon as Appy went off. But even before that, they just didn't look like doing anything in attack. Their defense is still fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock them for that. They just need something in attack.
Yeah.
Like anything.
It's unfortunate for them. Look,
Terrell
Manly
May,
were good enough. Oh, sorry, Terrell May.
Terrell May did his thing. He's just
Yeah.
Terrell May with 50 tackles and no misses. Just solid numbers from solid numbers from Terrell May there, plus 100 meters.
Just normal numbers from Terrell May, yeah.
The key for the Tigers, because I think you can call this season a wash now, the key for them is to just go out and throw the ball around.
Have fun.
Because every single time they've done that this season, they look really good.
Right? The second half they had against the Cowboys, when they put on 20-something unanswered points, was because they were just offloading at will. Every single win they've had this season has come when they've had double-digit offloads. They beat Cronulla with 31 offloads. Surely that should be the game plan. It's just
Yeah, and I think that's the way you're talking. That would be a Benji Marshall thing, right? Ad-lib football.
He's the king of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard when you don't have the ad-libbers in the game at the time.
Exactly. I think Luai kind of made them
Yeah.
take a step back from that. It's like they don't trust Latu Finding to do it. I wouldn't trust Adam Dewey to do it. So
Luai, yeah.
moving from centre to 5'8", and having a decent fist in it, I thought he did okay.
Luai reminds me a little bit of Cameron Munster in the way that he kind of runs around and just looks for things as he's running around. He just played ad-lib football very, very well.
Yeah.
I don't like him as a person on the field, but there's no doubting that he's kind of unpredictable. Pretty important. Yeah.
I agree. I think this is just the rest of the season is now figuring out who's going to partner Luai on the halves next year. They've got a couple of options they can go to. It's just a matter of whether they can. I would keep Latu Finu there. I don't think Adam Dewey is the answer.
No, I don't think so.
I think you may as well just keep Finu in there, let him get some combinations going, and then go into next year with 2 good halves with 2 combos. Because I feel like his combo with, I guess it was Jack Bird mostly in this game. I thought they looked okay. The other side, Samuel Finu is his own guy. He's a great player. His combo with Luai will be good next year. It's a lot of missed continuity, especially with all the Lockie Galvin stuff and then all the injuries they've had. It's been a rough year for the Tigers. I still think they are in a better place than they have been the past few years.
Yeah.
It's just taking a little bit longer to set in than ideal, anyway.
Yep.
Manly,
Well, they did enough to win, didn't they? I mean,
well, it was funny because we were talking about the attacking ineptitude. And it was because they were not going right to Tom Trbojevich's side. You would have thought, we're putting him in the centres, but you should still use him as an attacking weapon. I think he touched the ball like 5 times in the first half. I didn't hear his name at all. I barely saw him. And then the second half, they went that way, and they scored a bunch of points. Lo and behold, just who would have thought? I thought he looked fine.
He's fine. Look, he's played centre enough. It's not like it's like foreign to him or anything like that. So
Yeah.
and
I don't know how I feel about the move. I mean, it's clearly worked at least against the Tigers.
yeah.
Well,
Once again,
but it's
against other teams might not be.
it's for the sake of, I think, longevity on his part. I guess I don't mind. He's a big enough body that he can play centre. I feel like he used to do that like the roaming centre role that he kind of did in Origin a few years ago. That should be what his role is here. Defense he stays out there. He can help Ruben Garrick out on that side. I'm fine with it. It's just it's going to take a while to get used to.
Yeah, well, it worked for this week. See how it goes next week.
I really like Ethan Bullimore. He's really, really good.
He reminds me a bit of a Bo Fermor style.
Yeah, I think he's quicker than Bo Fermor. His leg speed is better than Bo Fermor. He played 41 minutes this week. He ran for 150 metres, which led the entire Manly forward pack off the bench. 30 tackles with only one miss, and he had the fastest play-the-ball speed in the entire team. That's great.
I think he's front most of the time.
He's been really good. They've really picked him up as a good young forward to help what is the Northern Beaches retirement home over there. So
it was like Takeaho had a pretty good game as well.
Takeaho played well. I still would prefer if they used Jazz Tabanga as a middle forward just for some punch. Because if you're rotating him with Jake Simpkin, your forward pack isn't quite as lethal as it ordinarily is. I'd just let Simpkin play the 80 and use Tabanga as either a prop or a 13. Give Jake Trebojevic a spell, maybe. He's getting up there.
Yeah,
Lehigh did his job at fullback.
He's a good fullback.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah.
I have no doubts in it. It's just that now he's a full-time fullback, at least for the time being.
He'll probably be able to hone his skills a bit more.
Exactly. Manly, they sit in ninth now. They're on 7 wins. They're only 1 win outside the top 8, like definitively to be inside the top 8. I still think they're a rung below a few of the higher teams there, but they could, if the Trebojevic move works as well as it could, they're going to make noise.
Yeah.
I think it could work.
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't particular. You would hope a team with this much talent would be a little bit more inspiring against the Tigers, especially with how poorly the Tigers played in this game. I guess we will see how they go. Knights Raiders. Raiders, do we need to have a talk? This is 2 weeks in a row that this has happened.
Yeah, they caught up to a point and nearly got you.
Yeah.
What's going on?
They did that with the Tigers last week. They did it with the Knights this week. I don't like this. I don't like that. It makes me feel weird about how good this team actually is.
Well, once again, they're still winning, right? And
They're still winning,
a few in a row now. But yes, they don't want to.
This is the kind of stuff that makes people think you're frauds. I don't yet. Maybe it's just, coming off the bye, they're managing a lot of people as they head towards the back end of the year. That could just be what it is. But I hope that they're not. I hope this is not what they are now, because they will lose to quite a few teams if they keep playing like this. It's not good. It's almost a carbon copy of what last week was, right? They had so much more of the ball in the first half. They completed 96% in the first half. They had 8 more offloads, 4 line breaks, and conceded none. They were great. And it's just after halftime, they seemed to lose something. I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. Outside that, I mean, in terms of individual performances, I thought KO Weeks was phenomenal in this game. He's really, really showing what obviously Ricky Stewart saw in him. Outside that, Corey Horsburgh did his usual thing of being Corey Horsburgh and being amazing and somehow still being snubbed for Origin.
He's built for Origin.
We'll get to Origin later on.
He's built.
There's a lot there. He's so good, man. 193 meters, 38 tackles, no misses. He plays with so much enthusiasm and vim and vigor. He's just so good. And they obviously rested the Hudson Young this week. I thought Svemi Sasangi was pretty good. He's putting together a quietly very good season.
They've got a pretty good team and it's fairly well balanced, which is
they've got such good depth as well.
Yeah.
It's just really good to see the Raiders have good development coming through, which they've kind of lacked for a while. And Jamal Fogarty had the best kick I have ever seen. That 40-20 was absurd. I'll put the clip of it up here somewhere. But it lands about this far in from the touchline, about this far in from the 20. It's the perfect kick. It's just ridiculous how good his place kicking is. It's just he's so good. I love Jamal Fogarty.
Outside Nathan Cleary, Jamal Fogarty probably has the most accurate kick
Oh,
in the game.
I would have no qualms saying that.
Yeah.
He's great.
And it's quite big too. It's not like it's a little pop gun or anything. You can put a decent amount of stank on it and it goes a decent
Exactly.
distance.
It's not like he's just a small kick.
No, it's good. The only one that I think is probably better, but it wasn't during the game, was the Jake Clifford touch finder.
That was a fun
to
one.
keep going and going, but it wasn't through a game like
That was this was in general play. It's just
it's very good.
Just I'm not completely worried about Canberra. I'm sure they're going to be fine. I'm sure this is just kind of a lull. They'll probably get back up at some point, but just keep an eye on them. They could drop a couple of games in the next few weeks. Just
Well,
watch.
it can happen when you've won so many. You drop a few and people start going, oh, yeah, there's
Especially in a team that has like KO Weeks, who has little to no experience in like finals football and being in such a great team. Same with Ethan Strange. Tom Starling is the same. Jamal Fogarty, this is the first really great team I think he's been on. There's a lot of unfamiliar territory, I think, for a lot of these young players.
they're really going to have to look to people like
He's not young.
I know, but like the rest of the line is pretty young.
they're really going to have to look to players like Josh Buckley and
Joe Tappan and these
those
sorts of guys to
players,
carry them
yeah.
through this. I think that's the way his minutes have played out in the past couple of weeks tells me that they are trying to manage a few people because he's dropped to sub 50 minutes the past few weeks, which is he tends to do sometimes, but back to back is almost unheard of.
Yeah,
So I do think that's what's happening, and
well,
that's
he's getting on, isn't he? He's not
why Papali'i, I think, is playing 70 minutes,
and he's doing okay.
and he's doing great.
Yeah.
I thought he was. He's good.
He's always good.
We'll talk about him a bit
Yep.
later on as well. In terms of the Knights, they were close. They were close.
But they still found a way to lose.
They found a way to get back into this game.
They did.
Because,
So that could have been a function of the Raiders maybe taking the foot off a little bit.
I mean, maybe. Look, that's
You
what you want
still have
partially,
to
right?
score- you still have to score the points, right? I mean,
Yes, And losing Kalen Ponga halfway through the second half. And that's after he went off was when they scored all their points.
I wonder if that says anything.
No. Yeah, well, Dan Gagai is obviously the best fullback they have there.
I like Dane anyway, but yeah.
So I'll give Newcastle full credit for rallying the way
Yeah.
they did against the Raiders. They were great.
And they won last week too, Newcastle, didn't they? So
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yes. So they've turned a corner a bit, I think. They seem to be playing. Their attack actually looks decent now.
They're not a horrible team, but they still find ways to lose that they shouldn't.
That's just Newcastle.
Yeah, not great.
Braden Best is good.
He is excellent.
He's so important to this team. I don't think I've realised how big of an impact he has on this Knights team.
Sometimes he's not picked for the Origin, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's like a Murray Talay thing, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think his is a little different because in terms of Murray Talangi, it's just that, like, it's not necessarily name pedigree that's in front of him. It's people who are just in better form. Whereas I think for Bradman Best, picking him over either Latrell Mitchell or Stephen Crichton sounds like lunacy to me.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Where would you put him?
He's just in an age of kind of being stuck behind really good people, much like Matty Bowen.
Yeah, Slater, yeah.
So it's good for Newcastle because it means they get to keep him for most of the year when he's healthy. But I think
He's a great player.
He's great. He was good.
He'll get himself back in the New South Wales team at some point.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
He'll be there. Elsewhere, I really like that they're playing Jaden Brayley for extended minutes now. He's been one of their more consistent people in big minute roles, and he's better than Phoenix Crossland there anyway. So I'm glad that he's there. He's getting match fitness, and it's good for the Raiders.
He's the less good Brayley still, but yes.
Now, this is good. They lost, like I said before, they lost Kenneth Ponga to a Liz Frank injury. They put Dan Gagai back there.
It's a cracked toe bone.
Dan Gagai at fullback gave me massive Jordan Rapiner playing fullback vibes. They're almost the exact same style of player.
Yeah. Run hard,
Tackle hard, goals.
Yeah.
That's what he did. I thought he played very, very well. I do wonder what they're going to do long
He's
term.
probably got better with age, Dan Gagai, but once again, he's in the same boat as She's not really.
I'm putting him in over Robert Toyer right now.
I guess they're trying to look at the future with Origin.
Maybe.
Dane's best things are still behind
Two,
him.
something like that.
Behind him.
But yeah, Dylan Lucas. I love Dylan Lucas. I think he's a great player. Yeah, I do think if he was on any other team, he'd be playing Origin.
Look, he is a very good player. He's the most consistently good player.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
he's great. They took it to the minor premiers. That's all I can say about Newcastle in this game is they took it to the minor premiers, and I can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
It's this back end of the year is going to save Adam O'Brien's job for another season, which is
Sad for Newcastle, but anyway.
in my opinion, it's sad.
Yeah.
I guess we will see how they go.
Okay, here we go.
Speaking of saved seasons, the Broncos. I think they might be back too. I know you hate Brisbane.
Me too.
Look, okay, we'll get the look. Brisbane won, and they won this game fairly convincingly.
You know what it was? It was Katoni Staggs versus the Warriors.
He's put together a couple of really good games.
And look, and you're probably going to talk about it, but the elephant in the room is the injuries that the Warriors got throughout that game.
Yes.
And when you lose two players within relatively short time frames,
They lost the clock stat like just after halftime, and then I think it was 20-ish minutes later is when Metcalf went off.
and Metcalf is like their linchpin, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And look, Charles Nicholas has been running 250 plus meters every week.
Meters a goal.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so that doesn't help.
I completely agree with that. The counter argument for mine, at least, is that by the time Challenge went off, which was the first big injury, they were already down 18-0. Brisbane were over the top of them already. Sure, the chances of a comeback are severely dampened when you lose people like that, but nothing I saw in that game was telling me they were going to have a chance to come back anyway.
Well, the Warriors have been a little bit like the Raiders in a way that they've been able to win games weirdly.
Absolutely. I'm not telling that at all.
That would have happened. But they're also, obviously, they're missing Darryl Martinez-Lesniak from the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But, you know, don't stress Warriors. I think you're okay. You just need to...
They need to find that Luke Metcalf replacement.
I know, that's going to hurt.
Tough. It's going to be really tough.
His is going to hurt quite a bit. What was his injury?
It was an ACL.
ACL.
Yeah, confirmed, I think, earlier today it was an ACL. So he's
done.
going to miss at least the beginning of next year as well. So that's,
I'd say so, yeah.
Sam Walker story.
Yeah, it's just not.
I
guess,
there.
well, the easy answer is Tanner Boyd because he's been killing it in Q Cup. I think they've won some 7 straight games or something there. They chuck him in. He can do a job.
And he's certainly not a terrible player. Yeah.
He's a good player. I think he's very, very solid.
Tanner Boyd in the Queensland side.
In terms of fullback, they'll probably aim to a peaky back there for the 4-ish weeks that Chance is out.
It's too picky like the new...
He's like Keanu King sort of build.
Small,
yeah.
little players.
He's not a bad player. I think he's quite
Yeah, no, he'll be right.
for the Warriors, I think their best player was probably Roger.
I think he was excellent. I thought Fisher Harrison was quite good.
Fisher was strong. Very, very strong. Aaron Clark.
He took it to some of the big players. Aaron Clark is normal.
I'm so happy that Dimitri Vaimauna is good because I really like him. He's a great player. He's got such great ball playing. He's a strong runner.
Looks play for you.
Looks as a Dolphin.
Oh, okay.
I love Vaimauna. I could definitely see him being a long-term 13 option at the Warriors. And you can have Laban and Vaimauna flanking him on the edges. That's a great combo. Look, Halasima, he was quiet.
He was a bit quiet, yeah.
I mean, he scored a try, but it's like
he didn't really do much. Normal, yeah. But maybe that could be a function of not being able to run off one of the better halves in the competition.
Exactly,
yeah,
and he came on fairly late in the
Yeah.
match, so it was already kind of starting to fall apart for the Warriors. So I'm a little bit concerned about their late season prospects now.
We're losing probably one of the best.
Probably a top 6, at least form halfback in the competition.
Yeah, he's been going. And he's a good goal kicker as well. So
Yeah.
um,
I don't think they're technically not a guarantee for the top 8 as of yet. I don't see them falling out. I think they'll be fine. Whether they stay in the top 4 is a different question. especially with so many teams on the ascendancy, like the Broncos, like the Panthers, like the Roosters.
Like the Cowboys.
They're all coming for that spot. The Warriors just need to find ways to win games to stay up there, and then it's finals. Who knows? We'll just have to see if they can actually.
Yeah, out of the ones in there, they are the ones who are going to struggle the most without their form player. Right, so
Exactly.
unfortunately, because I like the Warriors.
Oh yeah, I love the Warriors. They're great.
They're always fun to watch.
Just for the sake of my own pride that I hope they fall.
All over.
Shush.
But for the sake of rugby league, I hope they play well.
Oh, yeah.
Brisbane, great all-round performance for mine. I thought nearly every aspect of their game was superior to the Warriors in this game. They were just better. 54% of the ball, they completed at 85%. They had 2 more line breaks, missed 19 less tackles. Just punched them in the mouth for the majority of this one.
I still think the biggest difference was their centres, and that's just the way it is. I thought,
Man,
Tony Staggs
all
was
you
ridiculous.
need to do is play one good game at centre and you're in Origin. We know this now. Because for some reason, Gahammett the goatee Shibasaki turned into Justin Hodges for a day.
Although this didn't happen because we look at Tony Staggs, he's a New South Welshman.
But it's the same issue with Brandon Best.
I know, but I think Tony has been the form centre in the last few weeks.
You're probably right.
So if you're picking on form, he should actually
He would be there, yeah. I just don't think.
Even if you put him in the squad, right, and he could play back row if necessary. The guy's big enough.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that, absolutely.
If necessary, but he should be there somewhere because
Brisbane re-signed him first over Cobbo for a reason.
yes,
They clearly know what he is.
and then that combo's going elsewhere. So
Exactly. But yeah, Shibasaki was excellent in this game. Ran for 150 metres, scored 2 tries, broke 10 tackles. He was great. Haas and Carrigan were their normal selves, but a little bit quieter than usual, I think. Going up against the Warriors forward pack that is always very tenacious, that can probably do that. I think Haas played a few less minutes than he usually, but it's similar to the Tarpany thing, I think. I think Walsh is back to his best. It certainly seems like it.
it's still a bit hot and cold though. I mean,
That's his play style. That's what he is.
I
Unfortunately,
don't know that's an excuse. And I remember when Wayne Bennett was the coach of the Broncos, when Wally Lewis was there. In their first 5 games, they won comfortably, and then in the 6th game, they got absolutely manhandled by Balmain. And then they lost a whole bunch, and Wayne Bennett decided to start fining people for making mistakes on the field. And Wally Lewis argued with them, those of us who are a bit more creative are going to make more mistakes. Wayne Bennett said, no, I don't accept that, just be better. And that's what you can say with Walsh as well, just be better.
yeah.
Look, his strength is his passing game. Stop him kicking, please, because I don't think that's his strongest
Not great. He's trying. I feel like that's him trying to fit the mold of what like
fullback.
a lot of fullbacks are now. Like fullbacks never used to do that. They never used to do the amount of in-play kicking
No.
they do now. Like, Latrell Mitchell is the Rabbitohs' main kicker as the fullback. Scott Drinkwater is the Cowboys' main
Yeah.
kicker. It's just, that's not something that he is built to do. He is built to be the gunslinging ball player. That's what he is.
He's a ball player. Look, he's fast, and as his knee fully gets 100%, which I don't think it is yet, will get better as well. I just hope he doesn't let it go to his head like he has done in the past.
I hope not.
Because he can be a bit.
That's going to be Michael Maguire's biggest test. He's trying to keep Reece Walsh's. I'm not going to say ego because that sounds too negative to me.
Make sure his head fits in on top of his shoulders for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, he has, once again, like Latrell Mitchell, like all these other players, they have this potential to be the best players in the competition. But if you put all that pressure on them to be that, a lot of the time it doesn't work.
Exactly.
And you've got to let him play football, but you've also got to keep him grounded. And that's where people like Adam Reynolds should be able to do this.
Exactly.
But I don't know that he does because you've got Ezra Mam, who's the same as Reece Walsh. Only he shouldn't be playing football.
He should be in jail.
Which we could talk about for ages. We're not going to. But
Try not to harp on about that every week.
look, he's almost the same.
Yeah.
He's got a slightly better kicking game. But he also loves himself. These young Gen Zers or whatever they are, Y's maybe at the
Very, very.
they've all got this thing about, look, it's all about me. It's not about team. And that's where you can get the problems happening. Hopefully that doesn't happen to the Broncos, even though I hate them. We like to see a Queensland team doing okay.
Well, Dolphins.
The Dolphins are there. They're doing okay, but the Broncos are higher up and started their run a little earlier than the Dolphins did.
Like you say, the Dolphins are doing okay. They have a positive 160
Yeah,
point difference.
Surely I was just basically talking about the Broncos there.
No, I think you're absolutely correct. There are quite a few personalities in this team that can certainly get bigger than the team at certain points. So they do need to try and keep that from happening for them.
They really do. And look, I think the team players are people like Payne Haas and those. They play for the team.
Exactly.
I think if Reece Walsh can mature up a little bit, because that's what it is, it's maturing.
It'll happen as he gets
I
older.
think even JT was a little bit like that when he first came in and all that sort of thing. But once he got himself settled down with married and all that sort of stuff, he became amazingly good footballer, right? He was already talented.
Yeah.
But that settled him down and that allowed him to be humble as well. And that, I think, is important. Reece hasn't learned that yet.
It will come with time, is all you
Hopefully.
Yeah.
He's got a kid. You would have thought he might have matured a little bit, but I don't think he's still quite there. Mam certainly isn't mature.
The rest of them are
Mostly,
I know you loathe Jordan Ricky.
I just don't think he's that good a footballer, to be fair.
I think defensively he's outstanding. Outside of that, though, there's not.
He actually think all that way. He's not.
Yeah. But you don't like his face.
Fine.
I don't like him because every game since ever, he's
Like you don't like his face and you're jealous.
He's a good-looking bloke, but that's not what you play football for. You play football because you're a good footballer. Yes, because he's a good footballer. He doesn't worry about his looks.
No, he's a bit quiet. Anyway, Brisbane, in this game.
They were good. We're just going to see them keep that roll on. Because Origin might slow them down a little bit.
Consistency. The name of the game in 2025 is consistency.
Because there's not many teams that have been having it.
Exactly.
At all.
So
agree with you.
if they can find it, they're better off than 75% of the competition already.
Look, they lose Walsh is 18th man, so he won't be
Walsh
playing.
18th, they lose Haas, Carrigan, Gehemet as well.
Yeah, so this will be a tough one.
This will be a really interesting period.
They keep Adam Reynolds and they keep most of their spine minus Walsh. So
Kobe Hetherington was great in this game.
Kobe's been good for a few years.
I imagine, will be the starting lock when it comes to playing this league without all of the people. So they don't lose much there. Willison's fine. They've got coverage. It's all about Selwyn Cobbo, I suppose. That'll be fun.
Yeah, he'll have to play.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
But just watch this team. They could easily
go
to the top four.
They could. And
the dogfight for fourth is going to be crazy.
Yeah, it is. That's going to be very
exciting for it.
It's huge. Good. Yeah. And all that sort of stuff. It can actually
really interesting.
Like Penrith, Brisbane.
And moving on from that to this kind of wet fart of a game. Dragons Eels.
The Dragons won comfortably.
Well, it all happened pretty quickly, didn't it?
They weren't horrible. Parramatta looked pretty ordinary.
They lacked the effort that beat Titans.
Yeah.
It looked like, Dylan Brown came back, let's let him do all the work.
And that's what a lot of people do. I remember the Cowboys were...
whenever Tamalolo was out, then he came back, and the rest of the forward pack would just have to hit him.
He'll do all the running.
And he
usually did, but you can't just leave it up to one player. It's a team game, everybody.
Absolutely.
And look, the Dragons actually were quite good. I thought they played up.
Their first half
was really, really good.
It's definitely compounded by the fact that they lost
Couchman in this game, who's been one of their most consistent players. And for, I think, the latter half of the game, Nathan Lawson, who played this game on precisely 4 minutes' notice.
Yes, that was kind of double.
He was playing with a busted scapula for the back half of this game, and he's out for the year now. So there was a lot. And I think they lost, Hamish Stewart got concussed in this game as well. They lost a few troops here and still managed to put this on. It was quite impressive.
Yeah, I actually, there was a lot to like about their first half performance.
Exactly.
Really,
just look at the first half. You look at the end stats. They ended up with the worst of a lot of them, actually. They ended up with less possession, a worse completion rate, less meters, less line breaks, less tackle breaks, less meters per set, and less offloads.
But they put like Para was the week before, right? I mean, Parramatta went away from playing fun football and decided, oh, we'll just play old-style Parramatta football, and it was bad.
I feel like this is a thing that will happen with a few rookie coaches, is that there will be weeks where they just can't get the team up for it.
Yeah, and look, he did invent. Sorry, he did get a team that wasn't great.
Exactly.
And he's actually got them to be.
They're playing with heart
competitive.
quite a few weeks, yeah.
I feel like this year is going to be the year of the failed comeback.
Yeah.
Or they'll just
Didn't quite get close enough for that one to count, I think. In terms of Parramatta, because there wasn't much here, Iongi looked good. He continues to look pretty good. They've done well with him.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He was much better this week.
He's really gotten better as the year's gone on. I've been quite impressed with him. He's so defensively solid.
And I think he's learning when to throw the offload and when to not.
He's timing it very well now, yeah. And Jack Williams looks like the forward pack leader that they were expecting when they signed him. They've got good stuff here.
I think
this is going to happen.
a full year of two halves that can play the whole year.
Who's going to be the half next year?
That's a very, very good question because they lose Dylan, right? So,
I mean,
maybe Iongi.
No, they don't have a fullback then. Maybe they'll put Joe Ash in there. Or Dean Hawkins, Footy Dean. He's all right. I don't mind him.
What do you do?
Footy Dean. Yeah. It's fun. I think, look, for Parramatta, it's probably the end now for them for the season.
They're in
Yeah.
16th.
They are second last. And
You know,
unfortunately, they're not going to get Moses back in time for that to change.
Exactly. They needed to stay in touch with the 8.
Yeah.
So
I think they're good.
I think next year they'll be a lot better. It's just a matter of seeing what you have with a few of these guys for next year.
And look, I know that you don't like him very much, but Val Holmes was actually relatively good.
Yeah, he was fine.
221 metres, 2 tries, 7 tackle breaks.
He still can't defend for Quinn.
Well, we know this.
I'd be damned if he's not a great attacking player.
He's got so he's so naturally gifted on his feet. He doesn't even look like he's doing a lot, but he can swerve and not lose speed.
Exactly.
That's a very good skill to have. There's not too many players that can do that. Matt Bowen was one.
Ben Barber did it really well.
Ben Barber was good. Kale Hero was also
Kale Hero does it very well.
So yeah.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal attacking player. We know this. He's been that way for his entire rugby league career.
And I think he put on a bit of size going over to the States.
Yeah. I think it boosted his running mechanics.
Yeah.
The actual form of his running.
He was. Yeah, he is.
He was good in this game. I thought that because it seems for the past month or so, every week the Dragons have lost someone, whether it's be an HIA or an injury. And David Clemmer seems to be the guy holding the pack together. And he's doing a damn good job.
He's fine. And it took him a few weeks to get himself sorted in the team, but
he gradually increased as the season has gone on.
I think his confidence has gone up as well, and good luck to him. I know he's one of these journeymen who's been to a few teams now, and hopefully he can find his niche somewhere and just stay there for a little while.
He's not young. I brought up the Nathan Lawson thing before, which I just thought was funny. Playing the game on 4 minutes,
no.
4 minutes before 2 tries. He drives
10 minutes and then doing
literally nothing else.
Yeah, well,
literally a game that
I would still take 2 tries in an NRL game.
I'd take it, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just look, this is how the Dragons are. They're the same team as last year, essentially. Except they have Lycan King-Tonia now, who's looking really good.
Start was a bit shaky, but he's improved.
Yeah. He's getting there. Well, when your halves partner is Kyle Flanagan, you're kind of stuck with having to do nearly
everything because Kyle's bad. Anyway, the Dragons go on to a win, and the next game.
Fitting stadium for them as well.
It's all about consistency.
They win.
The
Fitting stadium for them to play.
Yes, they won at Win. How good.
That's the one down at Wollongong for those people
Yes.
who don't know.
Finns, bunnies. This game didn't happen. Moving on.
Fins up!
Moving on.
Fins up! Fins up!
How much time have you watched these?
I am going
Tries in his 100th game.
I'm going to say this right now. That first half was an affront to officiating. Souths were absolutely reffed out of this from the very beginning. They were absolutely shafted for 40 straight minutes. It's just ridiculous. And funnily enough, in the second half, when they actually decided to do their damn job properly, South scored more points than the Dolphins did. Wow! It's so frustrating.
If there's anything to do with 14 years,
Give them a fair crack, for goodness sake. Just, yeah, so annoying. So annoying.
When I say a team has been ripped out of it, it's actually
you were out dry. You weren't watching how egregious it was.
I was. It wasn't even that egregious.
You don't pay attention.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Last week, Cronulla were ripped out of a game against Brisbane, but you don't agree with me on that.
I'm
going to talk about him last. I'm going to talk about the Rabbits first because there's not much, to be fair. There was some good, though. Tallis Duncan was excellent.
Yes, the man with two last names.
I like him. I like Tallis Duncan. He's really working his way.
Normally, players have two first names.
He has two last names. Yeah, I feel like named Johnson Smith.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, he had a great game. I think Latrell is still playing excellently. He just needs some help, damn it. Why is the rest of the team so bad?
Cody Walker is injured again.
No, I'm certain he just quit on the team. He saw what happened. I think it was after, Hammerslow's third try or something. He just walked off and was like, no, I'm done with this. You guys can deal with this without me. I'm gone. And then Jack Whiten moved into the halves.
And it was actually very, very good. Yeah. I don't like Whiten because I think he can be a bit grubby in defence, but look, there's nothing wrong with his attack.
No, not at all. He was really good in this game. You can't, like you said before, they had 14 errors. They missed 30-something tackles, and they conceded over 2 quarters. You can't win a game like that, unfortunately.
But here's the deal, right? The Dolphins have done it to other teams in the last few weeks as well. This same sort of thing always works.
Speak from experience.
We're former victims of the Dolphins out there. We welcome our new Dolphin overlord.
So the Dolphins. Anyway.
WIV.
The Dolphins. I'm talking about him.
Yes. Isaiah Katoa is the best halfback.
He is the
in the competition at the moment.
Holy crap, he's so good.
So well.
It's insane to watch.
If mine is like 3 plays ahead, you can see it, right?
I have no idea how Penrith let this guy go.
Very well.
How did they let this guy go?
Thank goodness they did, because they're already
stuck with like 10 in a row for Penrith that he was playing.
Oh, boy.
Although
they might not be able to keep him with the salary.
I'm going to take him over 90% of the people in the squad.
That's probably fair.
If everyone just put 13 Isaiah Katoas, you probably win.
Yeah, maybe. He's good defensively enough too. Yeah, he's so good. Herbie Farnworth did his thing of being British and annoying, but also
excellent at football.
Okay.
Cody Nicarima.
Oh, it sucks for him.
I love it. I hate it as well. The hamstring today.
And Cody Walker both today. Being a 5'8" at Suncorp must not be
apparently so. The ground just sucks.
Not good, man. Yeah, I love Cody Nicarima.
So do I.
Lost because I don't know if they have like a replacement in his mold. I imagine it'll be. No, they'll probably put Sean O'Sullivan in there.
He's played there before.
But he's always been like more of a dominant half than he plays. This is Isaiah Katoa's team. I don't know how well he's going to fit.
Well, he's just going to have to, isn't he?
Because he's not bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Trey Fuller. I'm surprised he wasn't in immediately. He was injured. He did his ACL, I think, in the Q Cup final last year when they were playing the Pride. And then he came back. I think he went back into Q Cup. I think a month ago, and he's been playing fairly well.
They were playing the North Devils.
No, that was in.
Oh no, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking about it now because you guys are hammering me. Funnily enough, this game frustrates me. This was the most undeserved 4-try game of all time. I want you to go back and watch the 4 tries Hammer scored here. He deserved precisely 0 of them. And he somehow played his way, doing nothing, into a Queensland fullback jersey. I hate this guy so much. I might be the only guy in the rugby league fandom that hates Hammer. he's
not a hateable
He's
character.
not a good player. He's just not. He's just fast. That's all he has going for him. Because for a fullback, you need two things. You need good ball playing and you need a good, standard running game, in terms of taking good yardage, because that's what a fullback is now. He has none of those. All he does is run really fast and be caught out of position a bunch. I don't know why he's heralded as this amazing fullback when he is average at best. And just this entire game, it's like, ball fall over, me pick up, me score. Origin. It doesn't make any sense.
Titans, apparently.
It's so frustrating. I do not like
Well,
it.
to be fair, they didn't have much of a choice. Yes, they could have put Walton, but he's still a little underdone for Origin. So they could have gone the Jai Gray route, I
He's injured,
suppose.
I think.
Oh,
I have to
okay.
assume he's injured because he's not named for the Rabbits this week.
But that's what I'm saying. Hammer is fit and has been fit all year. You've got Reece Walsh coming back. He's in the squad, right, but we'll talk about that a bit later. But I think as far as fullbacks go, Hammer is the one that's there. He's match fit. He's all that, which is what you need to do.
Yes, they didn't have a choice, but
it
feels wrong.
Speed helps.
Yes, but it can't be everything. You remember Gideon Gallimosby? Exactly. No one else does. Only we know. He played 8 games up here and was terrible. And now he's a second rower.
That's because he's got fat.
All the players that have speed as their only attribute, besides maybe Josh Adokar, have completely flunked. Remember Jai Field? Me neither.
And Latrell Mitchell should be playing in the forward line. He's like a dad. That is forward.
He's been stuck in good systems. He is a system fullback. You just see that up here. When he played fullback up here, he was meh. And now he gets to play outside the best halfback in the competition, and suddenly he's the best fullback. I don't get it.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens on Wednesday. Anyway, next Wednesday.
But in terms of a team performance, it was just statistical domination.
Yeah, they were much better.
Yeah, they completed 84%. They had more of the ball. 45 minutes a set made 7 less errors.
Okay, so I know we were thinking they might have got 350s in a row, but this is 3 out of 4 games they've hit 50.
It's still good. I'd probably need to do a lot of research to find when the last time that was.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's right.
They've just got this ability to score fast. Right?
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. The amount of strike they have.
Once they get on top of a team, it's hard for the other team to wrestle back any momentum at all.
All they need to do is go through Herbie Farnworth, and it's just like, oh, nope, you can't stop us now.
Yeah, look, they're a good team. Zach Katoa, Herbie Farnworth, it's pretty hard to beat.
Zach is still doing surprisingly well.
Jermaine and Zacko, you've got
Jake Avarillo.
MSO fullback.
Jeremy Marshall-King.
He was good.
When he's healthy, he's phenomenal. He was great in this game.
Sorry, who's the other winger?
This game it was Junior Tupa.
Okay.
Bostock is out.
Bostock, that's right, because he's in.
Yeah.
But, look.
Great moment for Kurt Donahue to score a 90-metre intercept try as a hooker turned lock playing centre. Most convoluted position of all time.
Yeah.
He's gonna be Jake Granville Part 2. That's what he's gonna be.
Play $1 million.
But here's the thing, those players are necessary.
Yeah.
You need players that can play different roles.
Exactly. Versatility is huge.
And Ben Hampton was like that for the Cowboys as well. He filled in a number of roles.
Versatility is so important in today's rugby.
That gives you more chance at a 14 somewhere or whatever, yeah. Because normally, I think traditionally the 14 is basically the hooker.
Yeah, ordinarily.
But these days it's not.
You need to cover the entire forward pack and part of the back line.
And I think a player that did that, and I think Brisbane were a team that really started that era off with a guy by the name of Sean Berrigan.
Yes.
He was known as the super sub because he could sub in anywhere in the back line and back row if necessary. Jake Granville was kind of like, but he was more a hooker than anything else.
Even I reckon if people like either Wade Graham or Luke Lewis were playing off the bench, they'd be the exact same thing because they're so versatile. Now every team has to have one of these guys.
They do. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Well, it's probably Harrison Edwards, isn't it? Like Sam McIntyre. He's the one that goes everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But anyway,
the Dolphins, 8 wins. They're in the top 8. They still look like they're probably going to make the top 8 if they can keep this attack.
yeah. And look, they have the second best points scoring against.
They have the best attack in the competition too.
They're the best.
Better than these guys. Melbourne
They're
just went about their business exactly as how I expected.
They were very good. They were clinical.
It's just Melbourne. This is the Melbourne that we're used to.
I actually expected the Sharks to put up a bit of a better fight, to be fair.
That's on you.
But normally there's the Melbourne Sharks.
At Shark Park, it's usually close.
Yeah.
At Melbourne are just.
The Dolphins actually have the best points differential. They have
Yeah, I know.
167.
They do.
That's at the second.
I'm not surprised by this. The Sharks are not playing well right now. They are having a
I hope
really,
they
really.
fall NBA. I just don't like the Sharks.
It's like there's just nobody here. Blake Brayley's good. He's probably the full hooker of the
He
competition.
would be. I would class him up there as the best hooker at the moment.
Trindle and Hines are still stepping on each other's toes. The second rowers looked on a completely different planet in this game than what the rest of the team
I
was
thought
doing.
in the fourth back, Adam tried pretty hard,
Yeah.
Adam.
but he didn't get a lot of help.
No, there wasn't much else because it's
Yeah.
like what Oregon Kafusi, Braden had when you were.
Probably Rudolph. Rudolph's been their best bench forward. So
Yeah,
pretty
he's been
comfortably.
good. So there just wasn't much here for Cronulla. They were just dominated. They had 45% of the ball. They completed at sub 80%, which is about where you want to be. They had 500 less meters. They conceded 5 more meters per set. It was just clunky and not good watching for a team that should have top 4 aspirations. And now I'm wondering if they're even going to make the 8.
Well, they're at the 8.
They're at the 8 currently. I think based on like if you add buys and stuff, they're still technically there, but they're in like 7th or 8th or something. They're right at the bottom. Because they got the same record as the Dolphins, I
I
think.
feel Jerome Hughes is still one of the best halfbacks in the comp.
Yeah, Jerome Hughes is annoying. He's like Luke Metcalf, but 20% better at everything.
Yeah, it's not tough for kicking goals, I guess, but we never see him try.
Yeah, Melbourne did their thing. Eli Katoa was great. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's just the usual suspects for them. They never seem to have like,
Eli Katoa is turning into an aerial threat.
oh man, he's so good.
He's like Jeremiah Nene, only 10% better at
He's,
everything.
he's better defensively anyway than Jeremiah.
Yeah, he might have the ball skills of Jeremiah, but he's got good air skill now as well. So
Eli Katoa's great.
must be that name, right? All the Katoas are good.
So there was that one Sione that played for Penrith that no one remembers.
But the Sione that plays for
That
was
was really
very,
good.
very good.
In this game?
Yes,
Yeah, he was in this game.
And Isaiah is good.
Isaiah Katoa is good. Yeah, we've got the Katoas. It's the Katoa dynasty, right?
Yeah. I feel like there's not much to talk about in this game. Cronulla were bad, Melbourne weren't, and it went exactly as I expected.
Melbourne still have an opportunity to become minor premiers.
Oh yeah, they're a game behind Canterbury, which means they're 3 behind the Broncos.
Yeah, they're still good to be favourite, but Melbourne are there.
Canterbury and
They
Canberra.
haven't succumbed to the Penrith curse that you were hoping.
Still, I think they're as good as they usually are, though. They're still somewhat
I
inconsistent.
think this week was one of their best.
This is one of the best performances they've had this season because it's like it wasn't just a 50-0 drubbing of a really bad team. The Sharks are still a decent squad,
Yeah.
but it's just like they were distinctly better. It was better football.
Better all over the park.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it was just better football.
Yeah.
So it's just Melbourne and Cronulla. They're exactly what I thought they would both be in this game, as were both of these two. Now, I made a promise earlier this week. I made a promise to this little guy that if the Cowboys won, I would show you guys something he had made. And for as much as this doesn't feel like a win, I am obligated to show you. So
Put the link in the description.
here you go. There we go. That's his mediocre
I
editing
might have
skills.
missed a word near the end.
You'll be fine. I'll only find it.
It's edit, by the way, so just like
You'll be
But the Cowboys
Pretty
don't cyberbully. No, the Cowboys won.
Here's the summary of this game.
we will.
There you go. That's it. That's what this game was.
It's a win.
We streamed this game. This was a mistake.
What
You
was
can see us. You can see us slowly die watching this game degrade into just a mess. It was not good at all.
It probably was indicative of where both these teams are.
Exactly. We learned nothing.
No.
This was a game that did not need to happen. We learned nothing about either of these teams. The Titans are crap. The Cowboys are just a level above crap.
It's bad.
That's it. That's all it was.
Really?
I mean, they won, which means that they should keep Purdue in the centres regardless, but
And put it in the team regardless.
put it in the team regardless. That's all we've
It
learned.
seems to be a good luck charm, at least, if nothing else.
I'm sorry, they went up.
They actually broke a hoodoo, though.
They won at Seabus.
They won at Seabus for the first time since Thurston's last game there.
Pretty much, I think. So that was 20.
I'm sorry, when they were up 24-6, they should have run away with it.
They should. And the Cowboys of last year probably would have.
They would have, yeah.
So the Titans were just bad.
I thought Drinkaway was the most important person on the park.
He didn't have the best of games, but he had a good game.
They did basically everything went through him. He had 2 tries and a try assist. He had 237 kick meters, forced a drop out. He played well. Ruben Cotter was the only forward over 100 meters, playing out of position.
And he played the full 80 minutes.
I think towards the end they shifted him into the middle with like some weird mixed rotation going on. But like
48 tackles. The 6 misses a bit.
on the edge, I feel like that's a
Yeah.
little bit more forgivable because it's
Yeah.
out of position. He's going against like more nimble people than he. But it's just they just need to find some. I don't know what the word is. Clinicalness. If they
I
need to.
thought Murray Talani had a pretty
Looks
good
like he
game.
was good. He's had a couple of really good weeks in a row. Cohen Hess always brings some energy when he comes on.
Hayden Lars was
He ripped and teared a lot more than he did against the Dolphins.
I thought he actually tried really hard. His first hit showed what he's made of.
I thought in defense he was pretty strong as well. He was just it was more. It was just more than what we saw against the Dolphins.
Which is good. And he got more minutes too. Which
More minutes, yeah, exactly. So look, it's a win. They needed to snap the streaks.
Yeah.
They got it, but I feel like it doesn't. There's no improvement here.
The only
It's the worst
way
team.
it actually makes us feel a bit better is if they can double that up with a win this week, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
The Titans, they had the chance to win this game and didn't. They should have got more points in that first half. They had enough field position to get
Yeah.
more than 6 points.
Yeah, but that's again.
And with the Cowboys' defensive abilities, they should have got more.
However, with the Titans, I remember saying this at halftime. I remember saying that it was 12-6 at halftime, and I was thinking, this game could end up 30-26, and it ends 30-24.
Yeah.
So,
2 points off.
look, it's just, they're good against bad teams when they're playing badly. For the Titans, anyway, they're just not a good team, and it's unfortunate. I want them to be good so badly.
They've been injured to hell and back.
Yeah, missing Keeney for this season, I think, has messed with them a lot. And then they didn't have Campbell for this game. So, it's just good. Oh, both Fernwell was good. I thought Philip Sammy had a really...
Sammy was very strong. I thought he was one of the better players on the park.
I think he was probably the Titans' best.
Yeah, I would agree.
4 offloads and a try. It was a good try, too.
Yeah.
Was good. I like him. I think he's quite good. They just had the opportunities and didn't capitalize to score points. And I'm going to hold this. If Dez isn't fired in the next month, I will be very surprised. Because that's what this game was. This was 2 people coaching for their jobs. And Todd Payton won, and then in the post-match tried to tackle
Scott.
So if that's indicative of how this fight is going,
He probably felt happy that he got through.
What's happening?
I guess maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was good to see him on the sidelines. All coaches should be on the sidelines. They should be down there with the players.
The box is so boring.
And the most important thing was it was being ranked.
What a great initiative. And again, it was such a massive success.
$3.5 million?
Yeah, that's really, really good. That along with the pink ball test for the Jamie Rath It's the two best things in sport.
Absolutely, I love it. I love it so much. And
Yeah.
I guess we go off the back of that. We head into Try July now.
Yes, we get some. Guess we'll see how we go. There's not
Please
enough
just market.
people who do it.
Please just market it more.
All year.
Let people do whatever they want. There'd be so many fun celebrations.
It used to just be a thing that they did the whole year round. You get people.
But I think what happened is that the Melbourne Storm were good, and everyone decided we need to be super serious days, so we can't have anything fun.
And
And then they stopped doing it.
never get
Like I'm trying to think of people who did it outside map, like Try July. It's like Michael Ennis,
I think Chad Townsend.
maybe.
Once.
I don't know. There aren't many.
You know what?
It's indicative of a team not having fun that they're not participating in this sort of
We
thing.
have to talk about the women's games as well. They're starting this
Oh
week.
yeah, I do have to do that. Actually, I forgot about that. You have to run me through. I'll have to do that next week. I'm sorry, that's a complete oversight on my part. The Cowboys will lose.
I guess the Titans. We already lost
get
the
it.
game in the
I'm
trial.
against the Titans.
That's what I'm assuming. The Cowboys women's team has
Mm.
not been good, so I'm just assuming more of the same. Well, they're playing what's her face at fullback now. Whitfield.
Yeah,
They're playing
Jakaya.
Whitfield at fullback now instead of centre, which I like.
And for some reason, I think the Titans are playing Taron Aitken at fullback.
That's fine. Who's the Cowboys? Halfback's always really good.
Here it did.
Yeah, she's an excellent
The kicking
footballer.
game is phenomenal. They just need
Management needs to be on it.
Yeah,
though.
the big issue I've found for the Cowboys women's team is always the outside backs.
Mm.
They never seem to be very polished. So I hope that they can fix that at least. They're playing in, or at least they're training
I
in.
think Mackenzie Wheel will
Yeah.
be a good forward for them this year.
So I hope she continues.
She's been hot and cold in the previous couple of years, so hopefully she has a more consistent.
Yeah,
A lot of
the
international
women's
teams.
team, the Cowboys' spine has never been the issue. It's always been the rest of the team that's been a problem. So hopefully they can at least get.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So that'd be nice. Men's round 18, starting with an absolute barn burner. Bulldogs Broncos. This is
Well, it might be a barn burner if they all had their full
it's
play.
quickly turned into a juggernaut battle. This one, so I guess we will see. But yes, you are right. This is another Origin affected round, and both of these teams have kind of felt the brunt of it. To be fair, for the Bulldogs, Crichton, Carraz, King, and Mann are all out, replaced by Blake Wilson and Anari Tuala, I think, for his Bulldogs debut. Sam Hughes comes back into the squad, which is good. I like him. And Lipoy Hopboy joins the bench.
One of the best names in the country.
Can I get what noise water makes for 500?
Lipoy Hopboy. Funny. We brought up Daniel Saluka before he's concussed. So Harry Hayes starts at his place in prop, and Curtis Moran joins him. He's a rough though. For the Broncos, Reece Walsh is the 18th man for Queensland. So Selwyn Colo returns at fullback. Yohei Shibasaki is now an Origin centre.
Yeah, get it.
For whatever reason. So now Dean Mariner is playing centres for Brisbane.
What did you do?
I hit the corner.
My bed is trying to kill him.
Trying to kill the bed at work.
And the usual losses of Haas and Carrigan are filled by starting Willison and Kobe Hetherington with
Oh,
Jaden Hunt and Tyson Smoothie joining the bench.
okay.
Brisbane won the last game against the Dogs at Ackwell, but before that they'd lost 4 in a row. So, I don't know. This is a really interesting...
Look, it all depends on how each team covers their losses. And
I think
the Dogs, I think, have a better system because Seraldo's from the Penrith system, so I think he's got a good system in place.
I think you're right. I think that not having Reece Walsh and playing a disgruntled Selwyn Colbo is going to hurt them quite a bit.
And with all the drama too.
And outside Tyson Carrigan, their forward pack doesn't have much, whereas outside King and Mann, the Broncos still have, the Bulldogs still have at least some good people. So I do think the Dogs probably just have the better of.
I think the Dogs probably do win. I think it'll be a relatively intimidating game
It'll be.
even with people out, but I think the
Yeah.
Dogs just a little bit too strong.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm tipping them by I think 10. So it'll be a good game. I'm expecting a good game.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Raiders Dragons at GIO Stadium. Big Papa plays Origin
Why?
because
He
Very,
retired.
very good.
because the NRL script says that he has to win Origin, and then he has to win a premiership, and then he has to retire the same year.
Go to Super
No, he's going to retire if he wins the premier. He's not going to St. Helens or wherever he is. He's done. He's done everything.
Yeah.
That's it. So he's playing
I
Origin.
do love Big Papa.
He should have already won a flipping grand final. He went on-
So his representative unretirement means that Corey Horsburgh, who should be playing Origin, isn't and moves to prop. Morgan Smithy starts at lock and Trey Mooney joins the bench.
They're not really losing a lot.
Not really. Hudson Young is back in Origin, but they played without him last week. It's still Simi Sasangi there. For the Dragons, there's quite a bit of player movement through injuries and Origin. So, Val Holmes back in Origin. Don't know how. And Lawson
attacking juggernaut.
Yeah. And Lawson being...
We can't make a tackle quick.
So, yeah, him and Nathan Lawson being injured. The back line is a complete disaster now. So, Corey Allen plays centre. Sione Finau and Tyrell Sloan are now the wings. That's a
problem.
Yeah. And the forward pack, Hamish Stewart, Luciano Leilua, and Toby Couchman are out. So Raymond Faitala Mariner is starting in the second row. Loco Pacifica Tonga and Michael Molo are now on the bench. The Dragons haven't won at GIO since 2015. I'm expecting more of the same.
Yeah.
The Dragons are too hurt. The Raiders are too good. I am, however, expecting another thing of like what the Raiders have done the past couple of weeks where
go out to a lead and then
the final scoreline will look better than how good the Raiders actually were.
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm expecting. I tipped them by 8, but I think they'll probably be up by 16-ish points at some point and then just put the Q in the rack.
Yeah, that's
what I think will happen. It'll be interesting to see. It could also be like when they play the Eels and they just win by 40 points. I don't know. It is the Dragons. We have no idea what's going to happen with them. Cowboys Storm at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, so we will be at this game.
Yes.
This will be interesting.
We'll not be able to stream it, as we will be at the game.
I'm so scared for this game.
Me too.
Okay, for the Cowboys, Dearden, Robson, Cotter, and Nanai are all in Origin again. So, the new halves pairing is Jake Clifford and Tom Duffy is back. So that's a thing that's happened. Harrison Edwards is the starting hooker. Kai O'Donnell moves into the starting second row, and Sam McIntyre starts at lock.
You know what this tells me? Purdue's going to stay at centre because that was the opportunity for him to
Exactly.
go.
They have the centre depth to cover it, and Purdue is still in the centres. That means that whole thing, the whole justification you used, Todd, to say that, oh, it's just a matter of centre depth, is bullshit. It's because he sucks at 5'8". Put him back in his actual position. Keep him here. Watch the Cowboys somehow bullshit their way to a win here. I have no idea. And then he'll put Purdue back in the halves anyway.
In terms
of the bench, we have a debutante. I haven't been able to sound the siren in a couple of weeks. Temple Kalepo comes into the Cowboys team. He is, I think, a bench utility who kind of shifts between playing hooker and playing lock.
Yep.
He's there with Tom McHaley, Caden Lars, and Cohen Hess.
Right.
So, it's fine. It's about as best as they can do at this point in the season. For the Storm, Cam Munster, Trent Loiero, Xavier Coates, and Stefano are all in Origin. And Suafalongo is gone for an extended period of time with a grade 3 hamstring tear. So he's...
I feel like Suafalongo. I think it's exciting. It's fun to watch.
What?
I don't know what the rugby league gods are doing this year. They're so vindictive. So Grant Anderson slides out to the wing. We have Joe Chan playing, I think, his first game of the year in the centres. And Kane Bradley, the former Cowboy, gets his start on the wing. Bronson Garlick starts at hooker. Nelson Solomona starts at lock. Jonah Peasant joins the bench along with Lazarus Varlepu and Sam Lasati.
Last time we played against him up here.
Yes.
He's very good.
So, okay. In terms of home record, the Cowboys are technically 3-1 against the Storm up here.
We're 3-1 against ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. They somehow lost. But they, in my opinion, are nowhere close to beating what Melbourne are right now.
Cowboys.
20.
Up the Cowboys.
This is going to be one of those games where it's just like, it's over after about 10 minutes.
Have lost one more player than the Cowboys. The Stewart's out.
Okay, well,
and 4 out for Origin.
True.
So we probably have
They still have probably the top 3 halfback in the competition at the moment.
Bateman's back.
Bateman is back.
Whether that's a good thing or not.
Where's Filea? Is he still in?
Yeah, I think he's
out for a little while. But yeah, Melbourne by a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to think that QCB is a bit of a
That's not Fortress.
fortress against the Storm anyway.
It's a fortress with a moat and a broken drawbridge.
It's a fortress against Melbourne and Newcastle.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And
With 2 random teams.
Canberra.
Whatever. I just don't know. Yeah.
There is a path to them winning, but the most likely result is a loss.
There was a 1 in 20 chance to get
Yeah.
We have to roll a
And it comes as a
D&D
function
dice
of Jerome Hughes getting injured. It's the only way they win.
in training or something.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, well, Pats could be the big
You
difference.
know what would be nice right now? Jason Tamalolo.
Yeah.
He would be pretty nice.
It would be lovely right now.
I don't know. We'll be at this game.
Good luck, Cowboys.
Yeah.
We'll need it
I
for
think
this
they'll
game.
make it competitive.
I think they will.
You're still tipping the Cowboys. Of course you are.
This next game is probably even easier to tip.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Got the cookies.
Tigers at Allianz for the Roosters. They lose quite a contingent to Origin. Robert Correa, Lindsay Collins, Angus Crichton, Connor Watson, and Spencer Leniu are all out this week. So we get a host of changes here. Mark Nwangani Tawasi moves to the centres, and debutant alert.
Debutant alert.
Todd Rodwell, apparently, is a player that exists.
Rodwell is a famous football name.
Yes, I'm pretty sure he's the star. I think. Something like that.
So he's probably okay.
Rodwell, he comes onto the wing. The pack, now reshuffled, consists of Makahesi Makatoa starting at prop, Benjamin Iluinu. I still haven't figured out how to pronounce this guy's name. How do you pronounce Ioelu? Yolu.
Yolu. It's like something you put on your back.
Sound like a truck.
Yolu.
The Benjamin at 9. Egan Butcher into the second row to replace the injured Siwa Wong. Celestia Fiketti starts at the other edge and Blake Steep starts at lock. The bench is made up of Zach Docker-Clay, Taylor Lasalu, De La Salva'a.
Number 3.
McCaffey. Whoever that is.
Known to store in Charters Towers.
That's the bench. So the Roosters have quite a bit of depth testing in this game. For the Tigers, Heath Mason is suspended for breathing on a referee. So Suni Taruva plays his first game at fullback for them, and Charlie Staines plays on the wing.
I would have thought Staines would be a better symbol. Let's put in Defy, not the other layer.
Defensive line, at least make yourself like vibrant and stuff. Don't wear green. Exactly.
Why they used to wear pink.
Especially why so that your players don't run into you.
Maybe do it from like a few meters behind the defensive line.
Surely the idea would be to stand behind the defensive line so during the play.
So you don't get run into and you don't get players suspended for weeks.
I'm not paying.
I don't understand that rule.
They deserve to be paid the big bucks. I'm just saying.
Okay, in other news,
Fine.
Adam Coruscant is out. I think concussed. So Adam Dewey is now the main 5'8" in this team with Latu Fine playing halfback. So Luke Laulilei is playing in the centres. Talon De Silva is on the casualty ward as a function of playing for Parramatta now.
Yes.
So Tristan Hope starts at hooker and Charlie Murray joins the bench. The new captain is Alex Twal. The Tigers
are struggling.
The Tigers have not won at Allianz Stadium since 2009. That is my sole reason for picking the Roosters to win this game, and they're going to do it quite comfortably. James Tedesco is going to have a field day in this game.
And my fullback.
I think I might captain him this week.
I don't have any other.
It's going to be him or Terrell May in this game. One of those two is going to be my captain.
You have to make the other one vice captains.
Yeah, I might have to do that, actually. Good idea. Final game of the round, Sea Eagles versus the Rabbits at 4 Pines.
Sea Eagles.
Nathan Brown ruptured his biceps and is out for the rest of the season, unfortunately. It does. So Tommy Talau joins the bench. That's a like-for-like if I've ever seen one. Alex Johnston is the fullback for Souths for the first time since 2022, with Latrell in Origin and Grant, I think, sidelined with a foot injury. So Isaiah Tass is on the wing and Ewan Aitken moves to centre. Jack Whiten replaces the, again, injured Cody Walker at 5'8". Sean Kepi has been dropped, so Tola starts. Jai Arrow shifts to the edge and Lockie Hubner starts at lock. Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I think Bennett gave was due to defensive lapses.
So it's bad.
It's bad.
Yes.
Lewis Dodd and Liam LeBlanc join the bench, although I doubt that's how they're going to line up on actual game day. There's going to be some changes. Keep an eye on the reserves for the new Rabbit, Brandon Smith. He played limited minutes in New South Wales Cup this week. We'll see if he's a late in or not. Souths have won 3 of their last 4 at 4 Pines. Neither of these teams look overly appealing in terms of who's going to win, but I think I trust Keon and Jai Arrow to do enough against this Manly forward pack. At least to free up Jamie Humphries to do something in this game. Bunny's in a close one.
I actually think the Bunnies may win as well.
I'm sticking with the Manly.
Of course you are.
I don't like them, but the Bunnies are bad. So
The Eagles aren't great either.
Here's the thing with the Rabbits. A lot of their attack runs through Latrell. And
That's
not
true. I don't know how Alex Johnson's going to do it fullback. That's a fair point.
Look, Bunnies will probably win, but it may not be very convincing. It's going to be one of those games that's going to be marred by people not being
the
there.
Eagles win. I'm laughing in both your faces hysterical.
Absolutely don't care.
Alrighty. That's this one done.
Yay.
Certainly a mixed bag of weeks. This one.
Please like a fire.
And of course,
Oh, wait, no, we need to ad-lib about Queensland. Okay. I've done my rant about Hammer, so I don't think he deserves to be the contract.
Fat D.
Everyone, yeah.
I like it.
He's the talk, isn't he? Gavin making his Origin debut.
You need to grow his facial hair if they somehow win Game 3. I reckon.
My wife doesn't like it.
There will be so many goatees.
Oh, of course, when Iron Man came out first, goatees everywhere, right?
Exactly. I still think I don't know why Corey Horsburgh isn't in this team.
I do like Papali'i because he will not let Queensland down.
He's gonna play with all the heart in the world. I am interested to see how many minutes they give him. I think they'll give him 30 at the beginning and then let Carrigan play out the rest of the game.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and look, he'll certainly do a job for Queensland. That's for sure. He won't let anybody down.
And he'll probably inspire a lot of the other guys as well because he's such a hero of Queensland football.
Everybody loves him, right? He's one of these guys with no haters.
They just need to bring Malmaninga back for this one game. Bring all the old heads back for a nostalgia bait Game 3 victory.
Just bring them into the actual squad room and stuff.
Yeah, I do think that would do them a world.
Dropping close, all those sorts of people, Wally Lewis, people like that.
He's already interesting.
Yeah,
they should do that.
Changes for New South Wales. I thought it was the same. At least
18th man changed.
Yeah, at least for now, because Brian Toto is under a bit of an injury cloud with, I think, an LCL injury.
Jacob Praz is there as cover for that.
I just threw my fantasy team over Laurie.
Nobody hates you, Laurie. I'm just saying, everybody hates you, Laurie.
I think that's the only change.
Yeah, there's not too much.
We'll see if Carraz ends up playing.
They don't really need to. I mean, they
kicks. Because Lomac's probably can't click for that.
I think it'll be Latrell this game. This is finally where they give him the boot. Although, like,
they give him the boot.
You know what I mean? That's a bad phrase. You know what I mean?
Give him the kicking responsibility.
Yeah, we got Val. I don't know. He hasn't been anything of a sharpshooter either.
I'm sorry, but the best kicker in the field is Val Holmes. There's nobody else that's particularly close at the moment.
We brought Bo Fermor in Origin, have him goal kick.
Maybe get Papali'i to go kick.
If you're winning by enough, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah. Val will be kicking. You give Val in Origin especially kicking for your life. He just doesn't miss.
So what do we think is going to happen in this game? It's a decider. Everyone's
Look, it's in New South Wales, which of course is harder for Queensland to win. And it goes without saying the team that wins the first game generally wins the decider.
Yeah. I am expecting a New South Wales win, which is unfortunate. I don't know how the game is going to go.
I expect them to be favourite, and Queensland don't care about that. But
Pressure's a privilege, remember? Pressure's a privilege.
And look, Queensland need to play 80 minutes of the 40 minutes that they played in Perth in the first half. Yeah, the first 40. Yeah. So, look, they were starved of the ball in the second half, to be fair, and New South Wales dominated because of that.
This game is going to rest so heavily on Cameron Munster. It's going to be so important that he has a good game, because if he doesn't, there's not much else.
But once again, for Hards to have a good game, their forward pack needs to dominate.
If you're starting Papali'i, I think that's the correct move, because he can lay a platform.
He will.
You know that.
He just exemplifies everything that's good about rugby league.
Exactly. He's such a good guy. So look, the path to Queensland winning this game is Papali'i laying a good platform at the beginning of the game and let Dearden and Munster and even Hammer to a point try and do their best.
Yeah.
You can utilise Hammer's speed.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing.
And the versatility of Holmes and attack, and that sort of thing.
You can have some really fun shapes going on with some of these guys.
Blair is also a very good attacking footballer. So, I mean, they've got good attack.
Yeah.
The back line.
I do like the idea of them sweeping out to the right side is probably going to be their strong suit. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Sweep out to the right side, especially when you bring Nanai on as well.
Yes.
That should be the game plan. Early, lay the platform, try and go through the centre gap between who's the left centres for. Yeah, it's the left centre, so it's Crichton and Toto, I think, on that side.
Yeah.
So Crichton and Toto, if you can try and find like
Or
some,
Carrez at Toto.
if you can find some sort of gap on that left defensive edge for the Blues, that's where you're going to find it.
I don't know how you would.
Crichton's one of the best defensive centres in the
I think if you could try and go, not the gap between him and Carraz or Toto, but the gap between the second rower and him.
Yeah. Liam Martin on that side.
One of those
Two
two.
Crichtons, eh?
Liam.
I think it might be Liam. on
Liam
that
Martin.
side.
I think if you can find that gap and try and exploit it with either Hammer or Toya, you're going to have some success.
Yeah.
And then later on, when you bring Nanai on, you just sky it every time. Just like they do with Lomax, you do it with Xavier Coates.
And of course, because Nana is also a target. Yeah.
Pray that the bench can hold the forward pack at least a little bit. That's what the game plan, I think, should be.
And look, defensively,
Please
the
make
Queensland team.
Valentine Holmes, please make a tackle. Just one.
Go for the legs, big fella. Don't try and go high on Crichton. He's twice your size, right? So, these are things you should know as a footballer. You don't go high on a guy that's bigger than you. It don't work unless you're Alan Langer or something.
Alan Langer.
Yeah.
Look, that's the path for Queensland winning. I don't think it will work. I just think that New South Wales have a
New
little.
South Wales deserves to be favourite, and they will be. And it's at their home ground, and Queensland find it hard to win there. So
The script dictates that Queensland must win this game.
that's one of the paths to Queensland winning.
That's my argument, is that the league is scripted, and because this is going to be Papali'i's final origin after coming out of rep retirement, they're going to win.
Go Queensland. Anyway.
Queensland, yes, please.
I mean, we will probably have one of these before next Wednesday anyway.
Well, yeah, we'll record on the Tuesday, but try and get that out like Wednesday morning is pretty difficult to do. So,
But yeah, go Queensland. And look, I think,
Very strong.
and go to the Cowboys.
please.
Please.
And I don't care about Brisbane.
Look,
Go the Bulldogs.
Please. Please.
Yeah, we'll see how this week goes. I've given up tipping this.
Tipping is stupid. I just thought I'd say that.
I went 3 for 8, and my mum went 8 for 8
I
this
went
week.
6 for 8. I'm better than him.
4 for 8.
This is going to get having no faith in the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, well,
I ain't tipping the Storm, and you can't stop me.
I'm not going to try.
Look, the parts of the Cowboys winning is Melbourne having one of their off days, and the Cowboys rekindling early season.
I think, but you said last week, maybe you can put that up, that if Melbourne win last week's game.
I was just praying that they didn't lose to Cronulla, because I knew if they lost to Cronulla, they were going to put 70 on the Cowboys.
And not with the team that they're going to have, but yeah.
Remember that like 4th grade team they put out against the Cowboys a couple of years ago where they only lost by 8.
Yeah, well, I think the Cowboys just had a fun game and didn't bother about learning how to defend that game.
Well,
so.
they didn't learn how to defend that entire year.
Yeah.
So,
Last year.
yeah, it
It
was
was
last
Leper
year.
who scored that runaway try for the end. It
It
was
was
Leper who threw dummies and then stepped around people and stuff.
Grab drink water for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Rugby league, how good. No one knows what's going to happen.
Okay, so yeah, good luck Queensland, good luck the Cowboys, and good luck to your team as long as it's not the
Unless you're Melbourne, I'm going to say it this time. Melbourne, die in a hole. Goodbye. Done. See ya.